Hey guys, Yoho Town again, as you can see. So now I'm going to be driving down to Kowloon. So if you know, Yoho Town is in Yuen Long, and Yuen Long is in the new territories here in Hong Kong. And Kowloon is south of the new territories, the Kowloon Peninsula. So Hong Kong, people say Hong Kong isn't that big, and I tend to argue Hong Kong is bigger than people give it credit for. I'm not going to say Hong Kong is huge. By no means is it huge. It is small in the grand scheme of the world and grand scheme of things, but it's not as small as people make it out to be. I'll say that because the new territories constitutes the largest share of Hong Kong by far. Nothing comes close to the new territories. Kowloon and Hong Kong Island are the other. I haven't got. Let's get that. So as I was saying, Kowloon and Hong Kong Island, the other two main parts, I'll say, of Hong Kong, are tiny in comparison to the new territories. I'll give you a comparison. Just, if you got Hong Kong Island, Kowloon, and the new territories, those three areas. Well, Lantau Island, which is just one island, and part of the new territory is Lantau Island. And Lantau Island itself is bigger than Hong Kong Island. So, there you go. Just one island. And Hong Kong, that's another thing. The territory of Hong Kong has 200 some islands. It depends on the sources you're using. I think the government website lists 263 islands. So a lot of those are tiny little islands. Some of them are just rocks really sticking up out of the sea here. But that just gives you an idea. 200 some odd islands. And just, granted, Lantau is the biggest, but Lantau is bigger than Hong Kong Island. And then there's Kowloon, which, again, Kowloon is often misunderstood because you have Kowloon, which is, the Kowloon that was outlined in the treaties between Britain and China, mainland China, which is the Qing dynasty at the time, versus what people think of Kowloon today, because, well, we're going to Kowloon proper, and then there's New Kowloon. And New Kowloon, 99% of people today would say when you're in New Kowloon that you're just in Kowloon. But New Kowloon is technically part of the new territories. So New Kowloon, while it's urban and it feels part of the city and feels very distinct from the new territories when people think of the new territories, New Kowloon is part of the new territories. Now, what is New Kowloon? Because it's not a term that people really use in Hong Kong. It's kind of only really has like a legal definition nowadays. And New Kowloon is basically, it's south of the mountain ranges that people think of. Mountain ranges, yeah, the mountains, not ranges, just a few mountains that separate, when people think of separating the new territories from Kowloon. It's that area that's more connected to Kowloon, both geographically and as far as city planning goes. It's part of the new territories that's connected more closely with Kowloon proper. Now, the legal definition goes with Boundary Street. If you know Boundary Street in Kowloon, it kind of runs through like the dividing line between Dai Gok Choi and Sam Soi Bo, and then it goes out between Wong Gok and Sam Soi Bo, and what people think of Prince Edward, not Wong Gok, but Prince Edward is actually in itself just an area of Wong Gok, or Mong Kok as people say in English sometimes. So yeah, and it goes out farther east, and it goes out towards Kowloon City, which is, Kowloon City is partially in Kowloon and partially in New Kowloon, which is the Kowloon walled city, which was, again, that's in Kowloon City now, but you know, it's in a park in Kowloon City, what's left of it, which isn't much. It's mostly a few little places that haven't been excavated and some signs telling you that used to be the Kowloon walled city. But anyways, my point is, that part of it was there because it was in New Kowloon, was in the new territories, which, well, it was in China, mainland China, before it was ceded as the new territories. And that's where you get the lease for 99 years. People always say, oh, Hong Kong, the British, they had a lease for 99 years, and when it was up in 97, they handed over Hong Kong, which isn't entirely accurate. The lease was only for the new territories, not all of Hong Kong. Kowloon and Hong Kong Island were not part of that lease for 99 years. In fact, they were given to the British in perpetuity. So they were given forever to the British. Now the British signed it over, but they didn't have to. Apparently that was one of the things they were talking about when they were doing negotiations, is the fact that, well, maybe we'll keep Kowloon and Hong Kong Island, just hand over the new territories. What I read was that they did studies or whatever, and they said, oh, it's not feasible to keep Kowloon and Hong Kong without the new Hong Kong Island without the new territories, which I think is partly true, but anyway, getting off topic. I'm talking about driving out Shung Shui, Kowloon. So we're heading to Kowloon, Kowloon. So what's Kowloon and what's the new territory? Shung Shui Po, everyone will tell you Shung Shui Po, oh, that's in Kowloon. Well, it's in New Kowloon, and like I was been saying for the last who knows how many odd minutes, is that New Kowloon is technically part of the new territory. So Shung Shui Po, legally speaking, is part of the new territory. So the new territory is huge. It takes up most of the land in Hong Kong. And so right now I'm in Yuen Long district, and Yuen Long district is one of the bigger districts of Hong Kong. I mean, it's pretty big for Hong Kong. You got MTR stations that are in Kowloon, that are in Yuen Long district, right? Just MTR stations. Well, once you get up north of, if you're taking the West Rail Line, you go Chuen Wan West, which is in Chuen Wan, which itself is in the new territory, and you go through a tunnel. When you come out of that tunnel, that's the mountain that separates Chuen Wan from Yuen Long. Two different districts in the new territory. There's actually a hiking trail you can do. It's called like the Chuen Wan or Yuen Long Ancient Trail. I think it's called like the Chuen Wan Ancient Trail, which people who used to live north of the mountains there, used to hike that trail to go down to the market in Chuen Wan to sell their goods. Anyway, once you pop out and you're taking the West Rail Line, you go north of Chuen Wan, you go through the tunnel, and you hop out in the other side of the tunnel. That's, you know, the first MTR station there is Kamshung Road, Kamshung Road, whatever it is. And Kamshung Road is, that's Yuen Long district. People don't think of it as Yuen Long. They think of it as Kamshung Road because it has its own village, it has its own MTR station. It actually has quite an interesting little history there. You can see the old school there and the ancestral halls if you want to go hiking around there. But that's Yuen Long. So anyways, you go to Kamshung Road. Then you have Yuen Long MTR, which is in Yuen Long district, but it's not in Yuen Long town center. You go to the next MTR station, which is Long Ping MTR station. Now that is Yuen Long town center. It's really confusing. Yuen Long MTR station is not in Yuen Long town center. Long Ping, the next one is, and then the station after that, which is a little bit further away, because Long Ping and Yuen Long station are really close to each other. The next MTR station is Tin Soi Wai, and people usually think of Tin Soi Wai as its own area of Hong Kong, its own district, but it's not. It's also part of Yuen Long district. Now it's different as in Yuen Long was its own town before Tin Soi Wai was ever built. You know, they built it up a lot more. Yuen Long has built up. if you watch my last video, I talked a bit about Yuen Long and how it built up a lot and changed and how they have the village houses there and whatnot. But Tin Soi Wai is just a new town. They built it from scratch and just a lot of housing and immigrants in there and whatnot. So those 4 MTR stations are all just Yuen Long. So now I'm coming up to the Dai Lam tunnel here. Have to pay. They've raised the price here, you know, twice at least just since I moved here, so that's crazy. But so this whole time we've just been in Yuen Long district, and you know, in the new territory. So we haven't gotten into Kowloon first. So I have to go through this tunnel, and then I'll be in Tin Soi Wai, and sorry, not Tin Soi Wai, Chuen Wan district. Here, let me pay here. It's $20. Okay. Alright, so we're going through the Dai Lam tunnel now. Dai Lam tunnel is right ahead. You gotta slow down. It's only 80 here. It was 100 before the tunnel. Anyway, so yeah. So it's gonna be leaving Yuen Long district and new territories when we go through this tunnel and end up in Chuen Wan district. And Chuen Wan is still the new territories. Now, let you know, if you don't know, geographically speaking, Yuen Long, Chuen Wan, and a bit of Kowloon we're going to go through. This is all the western part of Hong Kong. Sun Gai Sai is new territories. West is what we're going to, Yuen Long and Chuen Wan, and then Sai Gao Long is the part we're going to be going through, West Kowloon. Sai Gao Long, yeah, West Kowloon. So it's all the western bit of Hong Kong, although it's not the extreme west. Go out to Lantau Island. That's, you know, those and some other islands out that way. The airport and all that. That's like the western extreme of Hong Kong. But this is pretty far west in Hong Kong anyways. So what I was saying is Hong Kong is bigger than people think. It's not really as small, because people, when they think of Hong Kong, they usually just think of the northern section of Hong Kong Island, which is Sheung Wan, Central, Wan Chai, Kowloon, Causeway Bay, you know, like that little section. I mean, they built the MTR now that goes out to Sai Ying Pun and Kennedy Town, so that's starting to come into the fold when people think of Hong Kong Island a bit more, and a bit further east of Causeway Bay, you know, North Point and Diamond Hill, Tory Bay a little bit. But that's like when people think of Hong Kong Island or Hong Kong, it's usually just that little northern bit of Hong Kong Island around Central and like the southern tip of Kowloon, which is, you know, Chim Sa Choi, Wong Gok, Sam Soi Po, which isn't even part of Kowloon, like I've been saying, and maybe Kowloon Tong, which is also new territories, and Kowloon City, Boon Tong, and all that, which is like, you know, the eastern part of Kowloon, bordering with the new territories, or New Kowloon, as I've been saying. Which again, no one uses those terms, New Kowloon, but yeah, that's what it is. And people just kind of think of that little urban core, as I've heard people say in Hong Kong, as that's Hong Kong. You know, they get in there, they fly in, they get in the airport, they take the airport express into Kowloon or Hong Kong stations, or they come on train across the border from mainland, they take the East Rail, and they just zip through the new territories and get off at Hong Hum or Chim Sa Choi East, and okay, that's Hong Kong for them, that urban area. And yeah, that is the city. Well, now city is a bit subjective, because legally speaking, Hong Kong has two cities. Hong Kong, which is their Victoria City, which is central, which is the area northern Hong Kong Island, which I've been saying, and Kowloon City, which isn't what people think of as Kowloon, which people normally think of Kowloon, Chim Sa Choi, Mont Kok, that area. So those are the two legal cities. Now a lot of times people just say Hong Kong is just a city, and kind of. People use it that way, and they think of all of Hong Kong as just one city. Legally speaking, no. Practically speaking, kind of. It kind of works that way. So now we are in Chun Wan. As you can see, I can take highway number 9, go out here to the east and go to Chun Wan. But I'm going to keep on south. I'm going to go over the bridge and head down to Kowloon. Now it's still quite a ways to Kowloon. This bridge down here is really beautiful. It goes over Chingy Island. Chingy itself being an island that's part of the new territories. So I'm going to shut up for a little bit here, let you enjoy the view. I am going to speed up through this part a little bit, so yeah, enjoy the view. Alright, well, I don't think we got as good a view as I was hoping for this time. A bit of traffic, a bus was blocking my left-hand side to the east of me. So that was the better view. The west couldn't really see too much because of the bridge. But anyway, so now we're going around Chingy Island, which is mostly a residential island. There's some some shipping. They do some loading and offloading there as well. And if you've taken the Hong Kong Airport Express, you'll notice it's one of the stations. I think it is the first. If you're going from the airport, it's the first station is Chinyi. Yeah, not even the Airport Express there isn't as good because you can't check in. Check in and get your boarding pass and your luggage like you can at the other two Airport Express stations, Kowloon and Hong Kong, but it's cheaper if you take the Hong Kong Express from there, the Airport Express. Not as convenient to get to. There's not much point unless you're going from Nam Chong, station, and you're in a rush to get to the airport and need to change, I guess, although it's not that convenient to make a change between the Dongcheng line and the Airport Express as it should be. Anyways, we're going to go through another tunnel here, and then there's going to be another bridge, and then we'll be in what most people will think of Kowloon, although that'll be New Kowloon and still technically part of the new territories as I discussed. So I'm going to fast forward through the tunnel here. Alright, so we're now through the tunnel, and I hope you got to see some of the view better of Chunwan again out to my east, and a little bit of the docks that I was talking about on Chingy Island to my west, on my right hand side here. So yeah, now we are getting south of Chunwan. We're on the highway still, as you can see, and we're in what most people would say is Kowloon. We're, Meifu area, Meifu coming down to Laichikok. But as I've been saying this whole time, it's technically still the new territories, New Kowloon, as legally speaking, as I said. But for practical purposes, everyone will call this Kowloon now. So, but we're going to go down, we're going to get around very close to Boundary Street, if not drive over it, we'll see. And I'll show you where the new territories in Kowloon actually formally split. Now this is, I fast forward through a couple little bits of my drive, but as you can see, this is a long drive, and we're still technically in the new territories, although you can see ICC down there in the distance, Chimsachuri, the tip, and even further down, some of the buildings on Hong Kong Island. There's IFC, I can see it. I don't know if you guys can see it in the video here. It's a bit foggy, smoggy, whatever it is down there. But yeah, on a clear day, it's a beautiful view, although I don't know how much you can really see because of my camera and my visor. I think a lot of the problem is my visor, although my lens isn't as clean as it should be either. I'm going to get over here because I'm going to be getting off as soon as we get past this container port. You can see the container port on my right. Now this is the main working container port in Hong Kong. This is like Stonecutter Island. This isn't an island anymore. It's connected to the Kowloon Peninsula, but that's, it's taken over from Victoria Harbour as the main working harbour in Hong Kong. So you can see the sign, the next one, exit 3, Lai Chi Kok, Chung Sawan. So that's where I'm going to be getting off, kind of. I'm not going to be getting off in any of those two areas, which, as I've said, what people would say are Kowloon, technically the new territories. I'm going to be driving through there on the highway, but I don't want to go all the way down there to Chimsachuri or to Hong Kong Island. If I go to Hong Kong Island, guys, go through the West Harbour Tunnel, and that's an expensive toll, and I'm not going to Hong Kong Island today. Oh, okay, here we can see Chung Sawan, Sam Sui Po. I'm not even going to Sam Sui Po today. I'm going to go just south there to just barely into Kowloon, but I'm going to go through Sam Sui Po here to get where I'm going, and that's the exit I'm going to be taking. So I got to merge here, get over. Alright, so now you can see Yamate and Hong Kong West, and not going there either, but getting closer. That's Kowloon proper, Yamate. I'm going to get over here again. It's not going all the way down to Yamate. I'm going to take the sign here for Sam Sui Po, but like I said, Sam Sui Po is technically New Kowloon. Dai Gok Joy, you can see that yellow sign there. That's where we're headed. Dai Gok Joy. Just barely into Kowloon proper. You can see, wow, a lot of construction here. This is the Nam Chung or Lam Chung MTR station. They're building a mall and public housing above it. I used to live down here, and this station, there was nothing. It's taken them years. They've been talking about building this for 6 years or so, which is unusual for Hong Kong. They're usually quite quick about building projects, but this one's been very slow. I mean, you used to get out of the MTR here, and it was quite desolate, which is a bit unusual for a Hong Kong MTR station, especially where this one is, it's technically speaking in the new territories, New Kowloon, but for all intents and purposes part of Kowloon. So it's very unusual for definitely the urban area of Hong Kong to have not had no mall or anything about it. Which, I mean, I wish they'd do something different. Mall. We don't need so many malls in Hong Kong. There's too many already, but it is what it is. So here you can see the sign ahead of me. That one says to my right is Dai Gok Jue West and Wong Gok, and that one over there says straight ahead is Sam Soi Po. This one says we'll make a left, Chung Shao Wan or Dai Yusan, Lantau Island. Chung Shao Wan is just a bit north of here. Lantau Island, if I made a left here, I could get back up on the highway I was just on and, you know, head towards the new territories proper, or Lantau Island, which is again part of the new territories where the airport's at. So this is Sam Soi Po. I'm on it's spelled Y-E-N space C-H-O-W Street. It looks like in English it would be Yen Chao Street, but it's like Yum Chao Gai in Cantonese. Well, close. I know my pronunciation's probably a bit off. But anyways, you can see straight ahead a few pedestrian bridges. That green pedestrian bridge goes to Sai Kowloon Zhongsam, which looks like it would be in English Western Kowloon Center, but it's called the Dragon Center in English. So it's another thing in Hong Kong where the English name and the Chinese name don't line up, and the Chinese name makes it sound like it should be somewhere else in Hong Kong. That's for two things. It's not in Kowloon, it's technically in New Kowloon or New Territories. I should have made it right there. Shit, talking, not paying attention. So we are going to go further into Sam Soi Po than I planned, but not a big deal. So I'll make a right here. So that's the Dragon Center, Sam Soi Po. That's the police station right there next to it, that old building right there. Quite a nice looking building, not, you know, one of the few colonial buildings still here in Hong Kong. So I make a right here. This is, I don't know this year. I thought it was Hoi Tan Gai, but it's not. It's Yi Kok Gai. I'm not sure, but there. Oh yeah, there's this old temple here on my left. Quite a nice place. I used to go out here to get photos developed just next door. So I'm only like one street over from where I want to be. Make the next right. But yeah, we should be hitting Boundary Street really soon. If no, this isn't it, but it's probably the next one. We'll go down and over. And Boundary Street was, you know, back in the 1800s, that was the border between the colony of the then colony of Hong Kong and the Qing Dynasty, mainland China. And that's why it was called Boundary Street, because it literally was the boundary. Then, you know, everywhere north of it was annexed in the 1890s for the 99-year lease. Think what you want about that. That's a very British thing to lease things for 99 years. One thing I think the Chinese government picked up on, though. Really? Straight or right? Definitely can't go straight. Oh, this is Hoi Tan Street. Yeah, alright. So I'm gonna have to make a righty, lefty, left, right and a left here. But yeah, the building here as well. As you can see, it says Urban Renewal. One park is over there, or, you know, the Chinese name is a lot better. It's like Lam Cheng Diet, no, Lam Cheng Yaho Lam, something like that. That shows it's like for the MTR station here, the Namchang MTR station. So as soon as the light changes, I can go up Hoi Tan Gai and hopefully get where I'm going and go down Boundary Street and show you guys where the old boundary between Hong Kong and the Qing Dynasty was, and show you where the actual separation between Kowloon and the new territories are. Which, so I mean, technically, I mean, this is the urban area. Everyone would tell you this is Kowloon, but I'm pretty sure, technically speaking, that this is the new territories, although it doesn't look like what most of the people think of the new territories. I mean, that's really changing. Guaidam Gai, I can't go down there, but that's where I want to go. Let's see. And I turn left here. Looks like I can. Back on Tao guy again. Alright. So I'll make a left here. This is the street I originally wanted to go down. You can see straight ahead. That's where I came down off the highway. I see Lam Chang Jam MTR station. And go down to Hong Kong Island there. Alright. So finally the street I wanted to be on in the first place. Sorry about that. This is the Jade Market on my right. Supposed to be just a temporary thing, although it's been here 10 years at least, probably longer. And this is the, what was I saying? Oh yeah, hopefully we'll see Boundary Street coming up here any minute. Here's Park 1. This is the building I was talking about. Park 1, Lam Chung Yaho. Which, Lam Chung is not that close to here as you were thinking, but close enough, I guess. So this is the Jade Market and the park to my right. Metro Harbor View over there. Fun fact, I used to live there. That's part of the reason I'm coming down here today. Going somewhere in my old neighborhood. So, yeah, I think Boundary Street. I think that is Boundary Street. If I made a weird left turn, like not this first left, but if I went like down that way, you see where I'm pointing? That is Boundary Street. So as soon as I cross over this intersection here, this means I'm now leaving the new territories and entering Kowloon proper. So finally, this whole time we've been in new territories. We're now finally in Kowloon. I mean, now, as I've said like 20 times in this video, no one will say, the block behind me is the new territories, even though technically it is. So, now we're in Kowloon proper. We're in Dai Gok Jai, one of the lesser known districts in Kowloon. It is, it was just in Sam Soi Po, so it is just south of Sam Soi Po, and just to the west of Wong Kok. And if you go down to the southern bit of the southern part of Dai Gok Jai, you will find Olympic Station, Owan Jam, the MTR station there, and that station is in Dai Gok Jai, although no one thinks of it as Dai Gok Jai. It's kind of known as like Olympic. It's like it's its own thing or something. Long Ho Fong Lang Hum Place is the tall building there in front of me. I think I've heard it's the tallest building in Kowloon, definitely in Wong Kok. So that's Mong Kok. You can see how close I am to Mong Kok ahead of me. Very close. In fact, you can see the bridge, that other highway out there. And if I was to go past that bridge and under that bridge, I would be in Mong Kok and be leaving Dai Gok Jai. So I am where I'm going, so I'll see you guys next time.